Health Fund Chairman of the Board, Hervé Sedki.
It's not on there. It's not on. How's dinner? Thank you all. Hi, Jane. Thank you all for coming. It's really an honor to see so many people here tonight. A lot of friendly faces, a lot of new faces, great support for the Children's Health Fund. I've been involved with the Children's Health Fund now for about 12 years, and it's a real honor to stand up here today for such an important and momentous opportunity, 30-year anniversary. I wanted to say a couple of things. One is we had the pleasure of having Melissa Mark Viverito join us, but unfortunately she is not able to make it tonight. She's a speaker of the New York City Council, but she's very well represented here tonight by Joey Presley. So Joey, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support. We sincerely appreciate it. And I also wanted to thank all of my fellow board members. As you have seen, we have an outstanding team on the board, people who are incredibly dedicated to the cause, who have given an enormous amount of support in terms of time and strategic thinking and leadership. And it's a real honor for me to be surrounded by such an amazing group of people. So if I could please ask the Children's Health Fund board members to please stand up. And now I'd like to ask Erwin to come back up on stage. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, and we're getting to a really very what Carol was pointing to something. Oh, they're giving me something. Not yet, not yet. No, thank you. So we're getting to a very special part of this evening, and very much looking forward to presenting a particularly important award for us to somebody who's been extraordinarily important to the United States of America and the world, and somebody that I've had the unbelievable honor of knowing and being a friend of, Secretary Hillary Clinton. And I would like to chat with you for about 45 minutes about Hillary Clinton. But obviously I can't and I won't, but I want to say a couple of things. That one of the first times, well, first of all, I met her in 1991 when Bill was running for president. I worked with her in the health reform task force that she led in 93 and 94. And over the years have had many, many encounters and interactions and a lot of support from this extraordinary woman. And David Dink is going to come up here and help me introduce her. But one point I just want to make is that right after 9/11, she had just started her first term as senator. She called me and asked if I would accompany her on a journey, a listening tour around New York State to help assuage the great anxieties that the country was experiencing in this country. And I watched and I listened to Hillary listening and interacting with people who were, like all of us, dealing with a tremendous anxiety about what was going to follow those horrific attacks of 9/11. And she asked me what I think needed to be done, and we had a long conversation about that. And one of the things I said to Hillary was, you know, I'm really worried about the potential of children being harmed in major disasters, especially around terrorism. And Hillary Clinton went to work And one of her first pieces of legislation she proposed was a very specific program to make sure that the country did what it had to do to protect children in the event of a major disaster and further terrorism. It was really extraordinary. It was listening, hearing the problem, reacting, doing something, going to work, like she's done since the day she graduated college and law school. So, David Dinkins, if you could join me up here. So, yeah. A long-time board member of the Children's Health Fund. Can I tell him one thing that you did in 1986?
I'll gamble.
All right. So Paul and I went to visit a welfare hotel, a shelter for homeless children and families, and we were mortified with what we saw. And I'd been a pediatric intensive care doctor, and I'd seen a lot. Been overseas and seen terrible things. And I went to the Martinique Hotel on the corner of Broadway and 32nd Street and saw children living under conditions that I felt were just completely unacceptable for America. Completely unacceptable. And we went around to every elected official, and they were, whatever. The American Academy of Pediatrics said, we got that taken care of, and I knew they didn't. And we went to visit, Paul and I, Borough President of Manhattan, David Dinkins. And he was the only elected official in the city of New York who acknowledged that this was a major problem, that these children needed health care, and that without him, we would not have been able to start the Children's Health Fund. So,
one year they had the teleprompters, and even though we checked it out in advance, when I got up to speak, it was crooked. So, sort of like suspenders and a belt, I brought the remarks, because I can't see anything there right now. But it is truly a privilege. I'm so thrilled to be here with you this evening to mark Children's Health Fund's 30th year of bringing health care to children, and to help introduce my friend, the Honorable Hillary Rodham Clinton. I'm sure this audience probably knows that when she finished Yale Law School, among the first things she did was to head south to work with the Children's Defense Fund. And I'm sort of a nut for kids. I maintain that everybody doesn't have to be a parent, but if you don't like children, there's something wrong with you. So I have been a fan of hers for many, many years. She's been a key partner of ours on many important children's initiatives over the past 25 years, beginning when she was First Lady and invited Irwin to join the Health Reform Task Force in 1993. In 97, the Children's Health Fund was a critical supporter of Mrs. Clinton's successful effort, collaborating with Senators Orrin Hatch and Ted Kennedy to pass the Children's Health Insurance Program. This program, known as CHIP, slashed the uninsured rate among American children in half, and now provides health care coverage to over 8 million kids. Secretary Clinton has also been a steadfast supporter of the Children's Health Fund's asthma project in the South Bronx, and one of the children's hospitals, and of the Children's Hospital at Montefiore. As a side note, after the terror attacks on 9/11, Irwin worked with then Senator Clinton, helping to understand the needs of healthcare systems in preparing for disasters, and especially working with Mrs. Clinton on legislation to make sure for the needs of children were part of disaster planning nationally. Secretary Clinton has fought tirelessly for children over her long career because, as she explained, no matter where they're born, no matter to whom they're born, our children's future is shaped both by the values of their parents and the policies of their nation. So it's my profound honor to be permitted to present the Honorable Hillary Rodham Clinton with the American Heroes for Children's Award. Is it
Hello, my friend. Mwah.
You look like ice cream and cake.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Where's the award?
I love that. I love my little bus. Thank you. You know, the first thing I thought of when they handed me the bus was the wheels on the bus go round and round.
True grandma.
Yeah, that is one of those grandmother duties, to recall that old song. I am thrilled to be here with all of you to celebrate the 30th anniversary of all the great work that the Children's Health Fund has done over those 30 years. And certainly for me, it is something of a homecoming because I had the great honor, privilege, and delight of working with the fund over so many years now, and working personally with Irwin and the team, the amazing team that does the work and produces the results. I'm especially conscious of how important this work is for two reasons tonight. One, the horrible terrorist attack in Manchester that targeted young people, a lot of young girls who were there for a concert, and the encouraging response by the people of Manchester who came together to offer compassion and support to the victims and their families. And it reminded me, Irwin, of that work that we did together after 9/11. The impact of violence and terror on children and teenagers, on young people, is unfortunately something that we have to pay attention to and come up with appropriate responses for. So my heart, as I know you feel the same, goes out to the families of victims and all who were injured and traumatized, and to that city which reached for love, not hate, in such a dark hour. And I have to say that I hope our country will always choose resolve over fear, never backing down from our commitment to work with those who stand against terrorism, but also to exemplify the same kind of compassion and caring that we've seen over the last 24 hours. Now, this award means a lot to me because of the organization in Irwin, and also because David has been part of presenting it to me. David Dinkins has been a great friend, a mentor, a sounding board. He, along with his wonderful wife Joyce, have been just dear friends and supporters. And David, I thank you for your generosity, your kindness. And I loved what you said about how children are at the core of your commitment to public service. We just spent time backstage looking at David's family pictures, his daughter, his granddaughter. There's going to be a wedding of a granddaughter in August. And, you know, that's really what I think marks David Dinkins, his great humanity, as well as his lifelong commitment to public service. Let me also thank the organization for honoring Jane Pauley, Dr. David Dines, and Morgan Stanley, represented by Joan Steinberg tonight. And Erwin started his long career, his itinerant medical work on behalf of children in the Delta of Arkansas back in the early 1970s. He was a legend by the time I arrived in Arkansas in 1974. And when I finally got to meet him and see what he had created along with Paul Simon and Karen and others, I was so grateful that he had given his talents and his expertise to the ongoing struggle to ensure that all children have the health care they deserve. We spent a lot of long days and late nights fighting for health reform in the 1990s, first on the Healthcare Task Force and then working to pass the Children's Health Insurance Program. As he told you, we traveled the state together in the aftermath of 9/11, trying to figure out how we could help families help their children deal with the trauma of the horrors of the attacks. And then last year, when I learned about lead poisoning in Flint, Michigan, and how it was being ignored, Erwin was one of the first people I called. He came with me to Flint. We met with elected officials and civic leaders, with families who were affected by their children drinking and bathing in lead-poisoned water. And Erwin helped me come up with some ideas that we were hoping could make a difference for those hard-pressed families and kids. So Erwin is an inspiration, as is his partner in life and work, Karen Redlener. And his approach to life is clearly summed up in the poster that hangs in his office. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And he does not ever want to be part of the problem. So he's been working on behalf of finding solutions and bringing people together. He's been doing it ever since that big blue bus started delivering health care to kids. I went to the South Bronx with Erwin and with David Dinkins about 24 or 5 years ago to see the very first medical home to care for pediatric asthma cases. We also celebrated the opening of the Children's Hospital in Montefiore. And what I love about the fund and Erwin's leadership of it is, although the mission has remained constant, the technology and the approaches have changed. So today, you're using technology to help kids in South Florida see specialists miles away at the University of Miami. You're investing in our youngest learners by making sure kids are healthy when they enter the classroom, and continuing to provide relief after disasters like Hurricane Katrina and other weather events, and ensuring that kids are not overlooked. And that means caring for undocumented children as part of the Terra Firma project. So I could go on, and many of you are parts of these projects as you support the fund. But you're giving voice to our most vulnerable young people who have no one else often to speak for them. So my message is very simple. I thank you. I thank you for your dogged determination, your vision, your generous support. And I must say, your work is probably more important today than it has been for a number of years. And that is because many of the advances that we have made, many of the programs that have helped to fill in the gaps are under attack. I think we all believe that the measure of any society is how we treat our children, and that every child deserves the chance to live up to his or her God-given potential. That should be one of the tests of who we are as Americans. So we've made progress. I'm proud of that. But still, more than 31 million children live at or near poverty in our country. It's not someone else's problem. It's not someone else's children. It's America's problem, because these are America's children. And at a time when we are closer than ever to realizing the promise of universal health care, there are still too many children who are left out and left behind, and too many people in positions of power who want to send us backwards. And we cannot stand idly or quietly by while they are doing that. You know, instead of working together to lift children and families out of poverty and give them a fighting shot in life, this administration and Republicans in Congress are mounting an onslaught against the needs of children and people with disabilities, women and seniors. And just this morning, the administration released a budget that would slash funding for Medicare, funding for the Children's Health Insurance Program. After all, children make up half of Medicaid enrollees. 45 billion children are covered by Medicaid and the Children's Health Insurance Program. And that's just the beginning. This budget also takes aim at everything from medical research and disease prevention to food stamps and essential nutritional assistance to programs that provide vital aid for children with severe disabilities. And to top it all off, the budget dresses up devastating cuts to the Children's Health Insurance Program by calling on Congress to extend CHIP for 2 years while slashing federal investments in the program and shifting the burden onto states that cannot or will not pay for it. So this means that many of the 93% of children in America who now have access to health insurance, public or private, will be at risk of losing it. And that's not just something that hurts families' pocketbooks. It hurts the well-being of children. It has implications for their futures. The president's budget cuts $1.7 trillion in programs that help the most vulnerable Americans. Now, this is more than just a list of programs and line items in a budget. It is a tangible representation of values. What kind of values would drive someone to cut health care for low-income kids and families in order to make room for massive tax cuts for the wealthiest among us? This budget, along with the relentless attempts to repeal the Affordable Care Act, shows an unimaginable level of cruelty and lack of imagination and disdain for the struggles of millions of Americans, including millions of children, every single day. None of us can remain silent in the face of these attacks. It's time to send a resounding message that we will not stand for this attack on the most vulnerable among us. You know, I recently read a powerful quote that summed up a lot of this for me. It's from a book of essays called The View from Flyover Country by a journalist named Sarah Kendzior, and she talks about the dangerous ideology behind these attacks on the social safety net. And here's what she says: when wealth is passed off as merit, bad luck is seen as bad character. Think about that for a moment. She goes on to make this point. This is how ideologues justify punishing the sick and the poor. But poverty is neither a crime nor a character flaw. Stigmatize those who let people die, not those who struggle to live. So, I guess we should all ask ourselves, what are we going to do to help those who struggle to live? How can we do our part, whatever it might be, and you all are doing yours tonight, to give every child the safe and healthy lives they deserve? 20 years ago, I wrote a book called It Takes a Village, and a lot of people asked, well, what do you mean by that? Well, I meant what the Children's Health Fund represents and has understood from the very beginning. None of us can raise a family, build a business, heal a community, or lift a country all by ourselves. We have to do it together. And for hundreds of thousands of children whose names you may never know, you are a vital part of their village. This is not some abstract policy debate, and each time our country takes up an issue like children's health care, I picture the faces of the children I've met over the years, children who are hurting and struggling and desperately in need of somebody in their corner. But I also think of the young people whose lives have been changed because of you, because of the fund. People like Ryan Moore, who I first met as a 7-year-old, wearing a full body brace and smiling from ear to ear. He inspired me to keep going through the hardest moments of the fight for health reform and to keep going to get the children's health insurance program. Or the young woman I met in Iowa who told me with tears in her eyes she has cystic fibrosis, and the Affordable Care Act has changed her life. Or Sarah Soltani, whose cochlear implant was covered under the Children's Health Insurance Program, a fact she didn't realize until her mother told her as she was preparing to graduate from high school and head off to college. Her life now full of promise and possibility. There are countless children. The fund has pictures of them. Some of you have been on the missions. You've met them. That's what keeps us going. That's what we believe in. That's what your dedication and tireless effort has been translated into. So, my friends, we have come too far to turn back. And like so many of you, I will do whatever I can in the months ahead to try to hold on to what we have built over the last 30 years, what the fund has been able to leverage in taking care of even more and more kids. So I am thrilled to congratulate all of us on the years of great work and life-saving medical care, 30 years of the Children's Health Fund. And let us hope for 30 more, along with a society and a government that is equally concerned about the children that the Children's Health Fund takes care of. Thank you all very much.
The Honorable Hillary Rodham Clinton, please, come on, give it up. Thank you, Secretary Clinton, thank you. Stay on your feet. Stay up, stay up. Good.
This is just amazing. I think we need to take a minute, Dennis, to thank all of you, to thank our supporters,
Stay
our
up, stay
family,
up,
our
please.
friends. We need you on your feet. Give yourselves a round of applause, because without
All
your
right,
help,
you're
none
the
of this
heroes
would be
here.
possible. Each and every one of you are our heroes, and we are so thankful to share this special evening with all of you.
All right. Well, we've reached that moment, that pinnacle moment. I'm sure you've all been waiting for it. That's why you're up on your feet.
But it looks like we might have drew the short straw here tonight. So basically, we have to follow Secretary Clinton's wonderful and inspirational remarks, and then turn the stage over to Paul Simon for what will be yet another unbelievable performance. How about a round of applause for our
All
special
right.
guests?
But what's in between? What's in the middle of that Oreo? That's us, man. We're the
Here we are.
fundraising moment. All right. So we are going to do a little bit of fundraising. You can sit down now if you'd like. So normally when you go to these kind of benefits, you're always asked to put your phone away. Put your phone away, please. Put your phone away. Now I'm going to ask you, would you take your phone out, please? Everybody? Can everybody take their phone out? I happen to have a very smart phone. Oh, look at that, Samsung. Where's my Samsung table? All right, Samsung.
Go Samsung.
Woo! All right.
Thank you, Samsung.
Right. And I'm sure that the funds that are paying for this are coming from our friends at Sanofi right down here. Thank you very much, Sanofi.
Thank you.
So with this phone, I need you to turn it on, because tonight we're going to go middle tech on you.
What is middle tech?
Middle tech. Middle tech is not high tech, but not low tech.
Oh, okay. I should have got that one. Yeah. All right. Thanks. Thank you, Dennis. Listen,
All right.
for those of you who are watching at home on Facebook, now would be the time to take a look for the donate button and join us in a very special evening here. Look, tonight I think we have a challenge for everybody. In fact, it's bigger. It's a goal. Tonight we want to light up this room with everybody's enthusiasm, generosity, and dollars that we can invest back in protecting and defending the health of our children who so desperately need it.
This is very important right now. So in your browser, open up your email and just send us an email, right? Send us an email. You're going to address that email to give, Give, at chfund.org. Give at chfund.org. Just, you're going to send us an email. In the
subject, I think
In
we
the subject line.
think about how generous you want to be. And I think our goal tonight is to get each of the 700 plus of you to be involved. And so here's how we can do that.
Here's how we're going to do. We are going to light up the room.
Let's light this up. Okay, so everybody take a look at the center of your tables. In the
Center your table.
You will see glow sticks.
Some of you have already started playing with them, I see.
Nothing more appropriately for this beautifully darkened room.
Who's got a glow stick? All right.
All right.
Now-
Ready your glow sticks, because here's how it's going to work. Now that you have understood that we want to give to CHF.org, we are going to write in on the subject line a donation. And I want you to give you some context about what those donations can do. So for $100, a $100 donation.
Are you listening? Are you listening? This is the most important part of the night.
This is it. This is how we protect the children. For $100, you can send a doctor to take care of a kid for a full day. For $500, you can take a kid and his family and take them through nutrition classes for a full week. For $2,500, you have the opportunity to send a fully functioning, fully staffed mobile medical unit to a homeless shelter to care for kids for an entire week. And for a very generous $10,000 gift, you will have the opportunity to arm a mother with all of the resources and care that are needed to take care of her young child.
So you're going to send us an email. You're going to send an email to give at chfund.org. In the subject line, you're going to put pledge, and then inside that email, just send us a number, because we're going to reach back out to you, right? Because we'll have your email address. It's just a pledge at this point. But once you make that pledge, I want you to crack
That's
that
it.
glow
Grab
stick.
those light sticks, and let's get them in the air.
All right, let's see what tables are going to be 100%. Where's 100% givers
This
here?
is it. This is that moment to give a little bit of extra.
Who's going to look at the red Leonard table back there? Look at them. All right.
Find your
Woo!
phones.
All right.
Find your
All
glow
right,
sticks, and let's get them in there.
Sanofi, we got.
I want to see the Carnell
on.
table.
All right.
Let's
All
go,
right, the
Pat.
Alex Carnell
You're more
table.
generous than that, buddy. Let's get in the game.
All right,
Sweetheart,
come on.
think big.
All right, look at this. Look at the glow sticks out here.
I think we're getting there, Dennis. I think we're getting there. I see about 60% of the room so far, but we need more.
When you glow, we grow. When you glow, we grow. We reach more kids in more places with more services. You're the hero.
As we think about the challenges that Secretary Clinton outlined, there's so much that we can do, but we can only do it together. And we can only do it with your support, and we can only do it if we get those glow sticks in the air. So please, show us your support. Dig deep into your hearts and your pockets, and let's get that money coming in and get those glow sticks in.
We've got 100% in the corner back there. Give him
yes.
a hand. All right.
All right.
Give it up. All right.
I see 100% down here at Jane's table.
All right. Yeah, Jane. All right.
There we go.
Yep.
Table number 35.
Isn't this better than the lighters we used to have?
Table 19. Let's see it. Let's get in the air.
Freebird.
I need to see more participation over from 16. 16.
Where's
we need
over
you.
Here? All right.
Table 2. 100%. Well done.
We're lighting it up. We're lighting it up. All right.
Well, I think we're getting there.
I think we're there. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. And don't forget, if you're watching on Facebook, hit that donate button. We need your support right now.
Thanks a lot. Have a great evening, everybody.
All right, that was terrific. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for supporting our work and our mission. I'm very excited now to present the next segment of our program. I'm not sure if anyone has been through Times Square recently, but the next time you go, please take a moment to look up. And when you do, you will see the Children's Health Fund featured through an amazing partnership with Morgan Stanley called Lights on Broadway. Thank you, Morgan Stanley. As this video will attest, we shine brighter when we shine together. Have a look. The Children's Health Fund is an organization that ensures high-quality healthcare delivery to America's poorest kids. We deliver health services.
Gentlemen, Academy Award-winning actor Julian Moore and medical director of CHF's Chicago Children's Health Project, Dr. Icy Cade Bell.
Every year, Children's Health Fund presents its corporate award to a company that has made a significant contribution to the mission of delivering high-quality, comprehensive health care to America's most disadvantaged children. This year, we honor the Morgan Stanley Foundation for their incredible 27-year commitment to Children's Health Fund. Their Their generosity has provided support for crucial programs such as the Urban Health Initiative, including the purchase of a badly needed new mobile medical unit for the Chicago Children's Project. Morgan Stanley is not only generous with their money, but with their time. Employees have volunteered to paint community centers and homeless shelters, screen school children for health problems that could impact learning, assemble back-to-school kits, and conduct financial literacy classes for Chicago high school students.
Good evening. As the medical director of Chicago Children's Health Project, I'm honored to take part in the presentation of this award to the Morgan Stanley Foundation. Together, we've accomplished some really amazing things. Their generosity has allowed us to hire a referral manager to help our patients deal with the challenges of scheduling and getting to appointments, as well as connecting them to community services like food pantries and childcare. And as Julianne mentioned, in 2015, with Morgan Stanley's support, we were able to purchase a brand new state-of-the-art mobile medical unit. I wish we had a picture of it. This gift ensures we can provide direct primary care services to children and adolescents in medically underserved areas at over 30 locations. The mobile unit also serves as a base for our other services, such as screening for health barriers that can undermine a child's chance for educational success, and providing trauma-informed care to teens who have experienced violence. All of these things are made possible through the extraordinary commitment and generosity of Morgan Stanley Foundation.
For the past 3 decades, working side by side, Morgan Stanley and Children's Health Fund have taken on the tough jobs and reached tens of thousands of children with services that have changed their lives. Together, we are value-driven, and the road forward holds more great things for children, our most valuable collective asset for a bright future. On behalf of Children's Health Fund, we are so proud to present the corporate award to Joan Steinberg, President of the Morgan Stanley Foundation. Who also happened to go to college with my sister-in-law.
Good evening. Thank you for honoring Morgan Stanley. So many people got up and talked about these incredible introductions to the Children's Health Fund and how they were intending to help children when they first met the fund. I was going to a concert, and it was 1987, and Paul Simon had put together an amazing collection of people at Madison Square Garden, and I went because there was a really good lineup. But I did get introduced to the Big Blue Bus, and then 10 years later I joined Morgan Stanley, and I know most of you are thinking there's no way, she looks too young. Thank you. But actually, one of my great joys in joining the firm was that we were actually supporting the Children's Health Fund, and I got to be a part of that. I'm also incredibly proud that the employees at Morgan Stanley embraced this cause, and we were just literally sitting at the table and saying that it's a great shame that we need a charity like this in a country that has as much wealth as ours, because it's ridiculous that our children don't have care, that they are growing up in poverty, and that they don't have all the chances that we and our children have. So I'm very, very proud to accept this award on behalf of Morgan Stanley. I'm proud of our employees, and I'm incredibly proud of the partnership we formed with Children's Health Fund and the aid that we're providing. We look forward to the next 30 years. Thank you.
My name is Marcus Mulholland, and it's a great, great honor for me to be here today to tell you a little bit about my friend and mentor, Erwin Redlener. When I was 15 years old, my family left our home in Jamaica for a better life in New York. We were going to America, I said to myself. I was over the moon, ecstatic. But like so many immigrant families, we faced very hard times. 3 months after we arrived in New York City, my brother and I were taken from our home and placed in a transitional living facility. One day we were told we would be getting a physical examination. We climbed onto this big blue bus, and there was Erwin. He asked me what I would like to be when I grew up. I had asked this question many times before, so I was well prepared. Without hesitation, I told Erwin I want to be a doctor, just like you, someone who helps people. He immediately expressed such enthusiasm and encouragement. He gave me his phone number and told me that if I needed anything to call. That was the day that changed everything. You can't imagine what it meant to me, just some kid in the system, that a person of Erwin's stature took a real interest in me. And he continued to show interest when I moved to Howe Avenue Boys Home. He and Karen even invited me to their home. He checked on me when I was in college, encouraging me to persevere, telling me I could achieve all my goals and dreams. I went on to get a graduate degree. And because of the role model I had in Erwin, I've spent most of my adult life helping kids and teens through mentorship and youth empowerment. I have started my own company and write books to inspire kids. I know firsthand how much you can affect a child's life just by showing interest. By saying, hey, I'm here for you. If you need anything, let me know. I want to thank Erwin and Paul for all the amazing work you have done for kids like me. And Erwin, I truly don't think you know how much you have changed my life, and I hope you do now.
America. We cherish the idea of it. It has always promised hope and possibility. A promise inevitably manifest in the nation's children. We believe it's only in the dreams of children, healthy, happy, and overflowing with possibility, that the future of America is secure. But too many children dream dreams that never get realized, aspirations unfulfilled, lives diminished, possibilities lost. That is sad and unacceptable for these children, and terrible for America's future.
I needed so much.
That's the idea that has driven the Children's Health Fund for 30 years, and it's what will drive us for the next 30 years. We see hope in the eyes of kids, and it sustains our mission. Simply put, we make sure children get the health care that they need, because without health, there is no hope. We go where we're needed, and we stay for every last child and every family. Since 1987, there's been more than 4 million visits with CHF's healthcare professionals. And that means 400,000 of America's most vulnerable kids receive care from our healthcare teams.
How many times a day do you brush your teeth? 10 times a day?
We want to make sure they have a chance to succeed in school and in life, healthy and ready to learn.
So how many sugars are here? 6 inches.
And we want to make sure that they're safe when disaster puts them at risk. Our children live in the inner city neighborhoods of New York and Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, where they still struggle with the many adversities that accompany pervasive and persistent poverty.
There you go.
They live in the remote rural communities left behind by America's prosperity. In Mississippi, on the Mexican border in southern Arizona, in West Virginia, in South Florida, and along the Gulf Coast. As always, we've been here for our kids when they need medical care.
Now listen to your heart. Where's your heart?
And we'll be there as long as we're needed. But there's more to be done. and not just with stethoscopes. We understand that much depends on policies and opportunities. Will America support special programs and community clinics for children? Will America renew the healthcare coverage for low-income kids? Will there be support for the innovations that CHF has pioneered, from state-of-the-art mobile clinics to advanced electronic health records designed to meet the needs of children in the communities where the needs are greatest? Will there be support for the technologies that allow kids under the care of specialists to see doctors at the most advanced medical centers in America via the wonders of modern telehealth? These are the conversations of CHF advocates, the staff and physicians across our national network who come and speak with our representatives in Washington.
It's important for us to be here to talk to our leaders.
Then, home again, where we do what we do best, care for children who need us, because we care about them and we care about who and what they become. And to the many supporters who allow us to fulfill our simple mission, it couldn't be done without heroes like you. Heroes to the kids we care for, and heroes to your family and to your communities. We thank you.